Okay, when measuring for a blanket, it is not necessarily the height of the horse, the width of the horse. This will tell you everything you need to know. And what you want to do is go from the center of the chest. So you're going to go right where that V is, around the horse. So I'm just going to hold it here to the center of the tail. All right, technically she measures a 70. This is an open front Ozark blanket. And I like to fold them backwards and then put them up on the wither. Bring your front forward. Attach your straps and the Velcro. I line up with the center of the back and pull it down. These straps can easily be adjusted by the buckle. You just slide the fabric. I'm not going to adjust them right now, but this is technically you can just pull them that way and make them shorter. The underbelly straps are always crisscross, so I run that through like that and here. Back legs. Always touch the back of your horse's leg before you try and go underneath them, so that they get used to you feeling back there. Now technically I like to crisscross the back as well. So what I do is I pull the far one around and I just put it underneath this one and then hook it up. I had a surcingle get hung up on a fence, okay, and literally ripped this whole piece out. But I've not ever had one of these catch up. I like the clips much better than the surcingles. I crisscross the back to keep it from shifting, okay, and underneath, and normally when I crisscross them, they'll be up here. And that keeps it out of their legs. So you have less chance of them getting hung up in it or actually walking out of it. As they can do, they're like little Houdinis. They can walk out of anything. If they want out, they're going to get out. And I will typically put a blanket on, 60 or below, 60 or above, naturally comes off. And this way I don't have to ever body clip them. Technically, when they're in a blanket, they don't develop all that belly hair and everything, so I like to blanket them. I don't like the body clip. Not all winter blankets are turnout blankets. Some winter blankets are what they call stable blanket, which means that they are not waterproof. Turnout is waterproof. Okay, and it's a better windbreaker. It's better for the water. It will bead right off of it, and that is a true turnout blanket. Those little quilted blankets that you see are truly stable blankets, and they are not weather worthy. You do not want to go any more than a medium weight. We very, very rarely get down into the 20s, and that's when you would need a heavy weight. I have one. And I have it for just that reason. And if I've put it on a horse 5 times in the last 10 years, it's a lot. Because they can sweat underneath them too. When the weather's really bad, I put them up in a stall at night. And if they have an extra heavy blanket on them, believe me, they will sweat. So you don't want that. That's called pneumonia. A closed front, to me, in my way of thinking, in a closed front, the size you buy is the size you have. Okay? If you have an open front, you have a lot of room for adjustment. You have 2 inches to the close, 2 inches to the far. So technically you have 3 size blankets there. This is a little bit big for her, but the reason I use a 76 on her is because she's 3 years old. she is going to get a lot bigger. And she'll certainly grow into it. It's not so big that she's uncomfortable in it. Some people just prefer them because if you have a horse that's going to fuss with a blanket, the first thing they're going to do is stick their face down in here, and they're going to grab the first thing they can get a hold of. And that's usually the strap. And once they get the strap undone, unless you crisscross like I do, they're coming out. And they can even get out of that if they want to. I always start the leg straps. The chest is the last place I go. So I will do this. And I always hook them back to the original D-ring. I'm your typical horse person that does just about everything from the left side. So I unhook from the left first. I will hook it over to the right so that when I go to throw that blanket over her, the strap is hooked and it won't slap her in the eye. Then I will undo the front and roll the blanket forward. Well, you're fine, I know. What? Stop, Mama! Well. Now, there's two ways you can take it off. You can slide it over there, but just to keep them used to it, I'll just drag it over here because my horses are used to being blanketed from the time they're young. My blankets are hung while we're using them just in my hay room on these racks. When I'm done with them, I wash them, put them on the fence to dry. You never want to put these waterproof blankets in the dryer, ever, because that takes the waterproofing out of them. So you wash them, you hang them on the fence. As soon as they're dry, you fold them up, put them back in a bag, and they're good for next year. I never put up a dirty blanket, ever. Machine washable, absolutely. Absolutely. And I keep several on hand because I like to keep them clean. So when a dirty one comes off, a clean one goes on.